It's still Rubbin Minds live on Channels Television. My name is Chude Jidonwa. In case you're wondering where Ferdinand and Shadia, they'll be back next week. They just asked me to stand in and see how far we're going to get. Today we're talking about Dangote and his drivers. A little background, on November 5 this year, I think. Was it November 5? Alhaji Aliko Dangote, who is the only Nigerian on the list of richest men in the world, and easily Africa's richest man, I think, disclosed that about 13,000 applicants applied as truck drivers in his company, the Dangote Group's recently concluded recruitment exercise. He disclosed that some of those people, I think about 10 of them, were PhD holders, and there were 65 with MBAs, 649 with master's degrees, and a small number, 8,460 with bachelor's degrees. He made this announcement at a World Bank Youth Forum organized by a friend of mine, Rotimi Olawale, and his colleagues. And immediately Dangote made the mistake of stating this. All hell broke loose on Twitter, Facebook, and anywhere where you had educated young people with a computer or with a mobile phone. How dare he even ask for people with a degree to drive his trucks? That was one argument. The other argument said it's silly to even question him. If people don't have jobs, then any jobs that are available, they will find. But there's a third view, and one of my favorite columnists, Abimbola Adelakun of Punch newspaper, says, the reality is the PhD is not so special. The US produces an average of 50,000 PhD holders every year. Even when the economy was not down, it was difficult for most of them to get a job, so you would get into a bar and find that a barman has a PhD. You will find that the street dancer titillating the males in the club is a PhD student and would soon be defending her thesis. She says, I think the biggest scandal is the number of first degree holders in the mix. If more than 8,000 people with first degrees are applying to be drivers, then Nigeria is in a terrible mess. And so I have three guests. I'm not sure on what side they fall, but from what trucks they fall, but I shall be asking them. I will start from my left. His name is Bukola Ogunyemi. He's a social commentator. Those who are active on Twitter know him as Zebok. And if you remember the gospel according to Fakruk that went viral nationally a few months ago, he is the originator of that missa. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Fantastic to have you. I have one of our regulars on the show. Well, you were here last week, weren't you?
Yeah,
helping us break down the issues.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to having you discuss the US elections with me, but they said no time. Okay, so Joachim McEbong is a writer, a blogger, a columnist, a journalism student.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
I hear that your idol, Farid Zakaria, will be in town soon.
Airtel have pulled off a coup with that one.
With that one, fantastic,
Yeah.
and they've also pulled off a coup.
I might get a SIM. I might get a SIM just because of that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Hope it don't be a plagiarized SIM. Okay, moving on. We have finally Ejiro Otiotio, who is a technology consultant. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, I will start with you. Where do you sit? Where do you stand? On this matter of asking graduates to apply for jobs as drivers, or ultimately the number of graduates and the quality of graduates that apply for this job?
I'll start by saying we don't know. We can't speak for the quality of the graduates. We just know that they're graduates. My first impression was, being a graduate myself, I felt insulted. The amount of time spent studying as a student and trying to get a degree is about to be lost driving a truck around Nigeria. People would say there are no jobs, it's a good offer, why not take it in the absence of anything better? Well, if we look at it from that point of view, you're probably right. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I wonder how much the people, the support staff, now we're talking about the accountants, the HR practitioners, administrative staff that would support these drivers, how much they would earn. Would they earn as much? Would they earn less because the we don't have a shortage of accountants and all of that? Or why are the drivers earning so much? We have heard they'll earn as much as 500,000. And for me, I think that's where a lot of people are attracted.
I mean, if you pay me 500,000, I'll drive you anywhere. I'd pull the car, you know.
Yeah, but at 500,000 as a graduate, master's degree holder, as a PhD holder, you will be working with what we describe as the bottom of pyramid workforce. At this point, you're dealing with the motor park boys. A trip from here to Kano takes 4 days by going by today's roads, and people who do haulage, they will tell you it takes about 3 to 4 days. So during this period, you'll be sleeping at truck stops as a graduate. I mean, for that amount of money, it's not a life most of the people who have applied for.
Yeah, you're talking about what it is, how it would affect the quality of the degree. I mean, the value that people place on the degree. That's
well already there's no value on even without Dangote coming out to tell us he wants to employ drivers, graduates as drivers. We already know that there's no value.
So this just goes to confirm. I mean, is that why people are worried? Like, this confirms something?
Well, amongst other things, the personality involved, being Dangote himself, and the fact that it's actually a program designed to attract graduates. If he came out one day to say, well, are you guys aware I have 2,000 graduates as my drivers, maybe it would be put in a different light.
But is it not because they are graduates, that's why they are being paid so much?
I don't think so. I think what he's doing, the strategy he's using a cheap alternative to solve a complex problem. Let me bring in graduates because they can be trained. They fall within a certain demographic. They would behave in a particular kind of way. I can easily propose to them, drive my truck 140 times and the truck can become yours. They can connect with that. So it's easier to manage and control this group of people. So he actually does know that truck driving is a complex activity. Your drivers will give you headaches, your trucks will break down, and you need people you can manage effectively. So yes, he's taking advantage of the situation we currently have.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. I'm going to come to you. You know, I'm not sure where you stand, but also in the mix of that, you know, I mean, in our own firm, you know, our head driver is a graduate, you know, but he's also doing he's capable of doing all kinds of things, and he's, you know, a valued member of the team. I mean, you know, it's like, so people wonder, I mean, why is it even an issue? Like, you know, being a driver is like being an IT consultant, a web developer, you know, a social media manager. Why, in addition to what your perspective is, why is it even an issue in the first place?
I think it just portrays entirely what is wrong with our society. It portrays what we celebrate. It's an input-output process. We've come to a stage in this society where we castigate some particular types of job as being menial and unfashionable, such that anybody you see there, irrespective of the quality of his intellect, we castigate them, and I'm thinking, okay, these kinds of jobs are for the uneducated, the illiterate, such that we don't want to care, and that's what has brought us here. I think at a stage in the history of this nation, we thought the people who should go to the military are the bullies who are incapable of learning, such that in schools, the teachers tell your parents, this guy is a bully, he can't learn anything, put him in the military. Such that at the stage, we came up with top military officers in this nation who are bullies, because that was what we input. That was the input into the process. And we complain when the output is here. And then at the stage also in our history, we thought politics is for the dropouts, the touts, and all of that. Then we also came up with leaders who are, parliamentarians who fight on the floor of the Senate and the National Assembly. It's the input that actually determines the output. We celebrate criminality. Our definition of success is skewed. We think it's when you sit down in an office with full AC, that's when you become a success. We celebrate graduates who work in oil companies and telecom companies and banks and all of that. We think they are the successful ones, the ones who took to lecturing, who took to teaching, who took to agriculture. they are not successful. They are the downtrodden of the society.
So
and
perhaps
now
you're saying it's a misnomer that we will celebrate a graduate who steals money and who is a House of Representatives.
That's our definition of success.
Instead of one
that's
who is
what
doing
has brought us here.
Mm.
Such that people are beginning to leave these jobs because of the way we look at them.
Mm.
We think they are the unsuccessful ones in the society. So nobody wants to be that again. Nobody wants to be a teacher. Nobody wants to be a farmer. Nobody wants to go into all these things. It's the get rich quick syndrome.
Right.
Get into a bank, get into an oil company, make money, drive a Camry, build a house, marry a beautiful wife, become a celebrity. You are a success. They give you chieftaincy titles. That's what we've come to define success to be. There's nothing wrong with PhD holders driving trucks in Nigeria.
Right.
No.
Right. So you think, he talked about the matter of value, but you are taking it from another angle. That it's a crisis of values that this is even a subject
that has brought us here in the first instance.
Talking about people with titles, maybe congratulations are in order for Chief Bola Tinubu. I hear he's getting the biggest honor in Egbaland. Make of that well-timed congratulations what you will. Okay, Joaki, what's your own perspective?
The thing is, it's they both have solid points, but I think that we need to look at these things in the cold light of reality. If the US has an employment rate of 7.8 or something percent, and they're screaming and it's a problem and it's all kinds of things, we have an unemployment rate of it must be north of 40%. I like to look at this thing at the bottom line. The bottom line is, if people feel the need to apply for some of these jobs, it means that most of them don't have anything better to do, and as a result, they need to get started off doing something, doing whatever. So long, I think that the bottom line is that people are off the streets. They are not sitting on their hands, they're not idle. And I think that once they can stop being idle and earn some money for themselves and take care of all these little strains here and there, I think that they will be able to focus on more on other issues that may help them to be better citizens. You can really push and pull the idea of why a PhD student should drive a truck, because if even like you said, in the US, so many of us who go to school over there have to make do with all kinds of jobs, menial jobs, unspeakable stuff, really, to get by. And so if you can do that there, why not do that here? But I think I think it goes even beyond that. Right. The more people will get off the streets, the fewer people there will be for all kinds of crime. They cannot be manipulated. You cannot give them bag of rice to vote for you and all those things. Right,
which is why it's quite rather weird that while Dangote is trying to get people off the streets, Fashola seems intent of putting them back. Okay, so because what kind of people, we're talking about, and what kind of people are going to be joining this mass population,
yes.
And they are not graduates, so they don't even have this opportunity of being in the Dangote Drivers Academy. But people are saying, shouldn't we, Ejio, coming back to you, shouldn't we be praising Dangote? Because according to him at the World Bank Forum, these people are basically entrepreneurial staff, which means after 2 years they will be able to buy these trucks and be able to use those trucks for their own personal needs. Like Dangote just has, like you said, he has a complicated problem. People are stealing things from these trucks. He complained at the Lagos Business School a few months ago. Trucks are collapsing because people aren't taking care of the trucks. They're not valuing their lives. So he's like, look, how do I kill two birds with one stone? How do I make people entrepreneurs? How do I get people off the streets? And how do I make my business run? So shouldn't we be praising such innovation?
Well, if you call it innovation, then I guess you'll be praising it.
Okay, sorry. So shouldn't we be praising that as an innovation?
I don't think so. Quite a number of times it has happened that you hear a multinational company has come into the country, the investors are paying peanuts to graduates, and we raise all kinds of hell. Let's call a spade a spade. The only reason why this is up for conversation is because we have heard they will be paid $500,000 a year. So it's purely a function of money. We talk about getting people off the streets. With our population, 1,000 drivers, or is it 2,000 drivers?
It's a drop in the ocean.
It doesn't solve any problem. If you're, I don't know the statistics about those that have that did apply, but I'm quite sure a lot of people currently in jobs have applied as well. So you're not exactly getting people off the street. Some of these so-called people are already off the street, if we could use that description. As well, we talk about what's wrong, what's the big deal with a driving job. There really isn't a big deal with a driving job. Where the big deal is when you have people who are graduates who should be applying their intelligence in other areas. You put them behind a truck to drive from point A to point B. It is a low-skill job.
So it's a skills mismatch.
Exactly. I mean, driving is a low-skill job. It says anybody, I mean, we know what it takes to drive. So how complex can it possibly be? We're talking about, oh, maybe they're articulate trucks. Well, they are not articulate trucks. They're the same trucks you see everywhere. Dangote currently has trucks plying the roads of Nigeria. People even know the history of these drivers. And they will tell you that, look, the guy knows that he's dealing with uneducated people. They are ruffians. They do not understand why it is important to do things in a particular way. And so, you know what, he wants to push them aside, and he wants to bring in graduates that he thinks are contributing. So
you're saying, so there's still unemployment because some people are being pushed out of jobs again?
Well, it's only natural. And we talked about it being an entrepreneurial initiative. First and foremost, if it takes you about 3 to 4 days to drive to Kano, that means it will take you about a week to go to Kano and back. We will discount time it takes to load your truck, time it takes to maintain your truck, which means you're probably making 3 trips a month. We're not talking about you resting. We're talking about you sleeping at truck stops all over the country. It will take you about 4 years before you own that truck. And how much can you possibly do with one truck? So you retire after 4 years as what? A truck owner. With your university degree. I think Nigerian graduates can do a lot more. The education may not be fantastic, the quality of education may not be fantastic, but I think we deserve to be much more than people put behind the wheels.
Well, I mean, because when they put it that way, you know, it's difficult to argue with when he says at the end of the day, you're going to own a truck. Well, okay, so you own a 4-year-old truck, you know, because even Dangote himself said it, that the hardworking ones will buy the truck in 2 years. The lazy ones,
hardworking,
not possible. Even
the lazy ones will pay off in 4 years. you know? And when he puts it that way, I mean, what are your perspectives?
Well, I think it's just x-rays what, like I said earlier, what is wrong with the society, and I think this should just wake our government up to the menace of unemployment in the society. It's real, it's clear, it's everywhere. I mean, like it's not on the pages of newspapers, it's there on the street. People are looking for jobs, and if they don't get soon, they'll take to other means of sustenance. You can't fault a man for finding what to eat. I mean, like, so it's just I don't want to go into whether Dangote is right to recruit graduates as drivers or not. The fact that over 13,000 people applied for 1,000 spaces to drive trucks, I mean, should wake the government up, and they should do something about it. All the spaces that are there that government says they are pushing out these days, and all the vacancies that are in ministries and agencies of government, you get these politicians filling them with their cronies, I mean their cousins and uncles and everything, such that some people are getting shut out. That's the reality. I mean, no matter how much you know, no matter how much, I mean, like, how big your certificate is at any level, if the jobs are not there, there is nothing you can do. You can't, your brain can't produce money by itself. You still need a process to input it in and get.
So it's your input output thing that you were talking about before. So I think you guys are basically saying the same thing. This is underscoring a raging unemployment crisis. So you're saying, look, this is not really a solution to anything. You're saying, well, it just emphasizes the urgency of this situation. You know, so we have like about 2-3 minutes to go, Joachim. You know, I mean, we've talked about unemployment in this country on this show, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Why Nigerian Sahara Reporters, on This Day on Punch, you know, in the KJ's comments, on Nigeria's comments. I mean, there's you win. You know, the Minister of Commerce of Trade, well, I'm confused these days, Segun Aganga, you know, says he has created X number of jobs. Are we even moving any close? I mean, look, in America, you know, during these elections, people were looking at the jobs reports, on Fridays when it would
waiting for it. Yeah.
Waiting for it. Okay, 1 point moves, 2 points move. It's reducing by 4 points or whatever. Nobody is impressed. Are we even moving any closer to solving this unemployment? Let's not even talk about the unemployability one. The unemployment crisis.
Well, the first thing is that first of all, we don't have accurate data, so that's the first thing. So there is no standard on which to measure Aganga's claims. But I think that even beyond that, I think that we younger people, may also need to take this particular bull by the scruff of the neck, waiting for you win, waiting for government, waiting for whatever that doesn't come. I think that as more and more of us get exposed to information that is beyond what we learned in school, we can do a lot more to try to see how we can pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. There's a lot more that we can do. Like we have all agreed, Dangote does not, as let's not even go there, but we can do a lot more that we are not doing by looking around, trying to see what we can do to solve a problem here, solve a problem there, and try and begin to move forward instead of sitting on our hands every day and waiting for someone somewhere to throw a job at us.
Right. So in short, you don't see any hope in looking northwards.
No. The thing is, government has its role. Government has its role. For instance, okay, they can give you light that you can use to do stuff. They can give you they can help make roads better to make sure that you do fewer trips.
But you are focusing on whatever. But it's the people creating.
Eventually, you're just going to have to get up and either because commerce and entrepreneurship are not quite the same thing. You do commerce or you do entrepreneur, but you just try and do something.
Right.
Just try.
Okay. But I think that what I almost want to call him His Excellency Alhaji Aliko Dangote these days he's chairing all kinds of presidential committees.
He is more or less.
He's more, more or less the president of enterprise in Nigeria. I mean, what he's done is underscore for us the issue of unemployment again, and it should be front burner. The number of people who are jobless in this country, we should be talking about it every day. We should not stop talking about. So thank you, Ejiro, for coming. His Twitter handle is _Ejiro. Ejiro_. Thank you, Zabor, for coming. Your Twitter handle is at ZEBBOKK. Double OK. Fantastic. And then Joachim is on at JE_MC2. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you. The conversation continues. I mean, if you find, there's currently a debate over pastors and jets on the Why Niger handle now. If you can find some space to talk about this matter today, I wish you all the best on Why Niger on Facebook and on Twitter.